Matt Chapman, Jordan Montgomery, Cody Bellinger, and Blake Snell. This is the Boras 4, a group of 4 Scott Boras clients who, despite all being premier names in last offseason's free agent class, all failed to get the long-term deals they were looking for and signed after the start of spring training, possibly affecting their early season results. Well, let's look at what's happened to each member of the Boras 4 this year and what it means for their future contract prospects. We'll start with the first player who managed to find a deal, Cody Bellinger, who signed back with the Cubs just over a week into spring training. Bellinger's deal was worth a total of $80 million over 3 years, but featured opt-outs after each of the first 2 seasons. After somewhat of a bust of a free agency for Bellinger, this ended up being a pretty good contract that gave him the option of hitting the market in search of a long-term deal again before turning 30 years old. That option was most likely to be exercised if Bellinger had another really good season, but things haven't quite gone that way. Like last year, injury has taken a chunk out of Bellinger's season, but in 105 games, it seems like he's regressing down to how his lackluster underlying metrics say he should be performing. Bellinger's put up 1.6 F4 this year, a far cry from his 4.4 in 130 games last year, and that's come from offensive regression. A slash line of 268, 328, 426 with a 108 WRC plus is far from bad for a capable center fielder and a nice base runner, but it's definitely underwhelming for a guy who was just looking for a $200+ million contract, and it brings into question if Bellinger is going to opt out after this year or pocket another $27.5 million for next year in 2025 and see how next season goes. Overall, it's really not the end of the world for Bellinger. If anything, he's being overpaid for his production this year, and while he likely won't get his monster contract this offseason, he's got a chance to bounce back next year, and at the very minimum, has the remaining $52.5 million remaining on his deal with the Cubs to fall back on. A couple days after Cody Bellinger, Matt Chapman finally signed a contract of his own, heading to San Francisco on a 3-year deal worth $54 million guaranteed. Chapman's deal, like Bellinger's, featured a player option after year 1 and year 2, but also had a $20 million mutual option for a 4th year. Unlike for Bellinger, opting out is looking like the best option for Matt Chapman. After completely pounding the ball in April of 2023 and then falling silent at the plate for the rest of the year, this season Matt Chapman has flipped the script. He was floundering through mid-May, but since then has hit for an OPS above 850. Overall, with a 117 WRC plus, 21 home runs, his trademark great third base defense, his lowest strikeout rate in 6 seasons, and 4.2 F4 through 130 games so far, Chapman at age 31 is rightfully expected to opt out of his Giants deal and is making a strong case for earning that long-term deal he was trying to get last offseason. Overall, the Giants contract wasn't that terrible of a fumble from Chapman and Boras. His 2023 season wasn't amazing, and just a year and $18 million later, things are looking up for one of the better third basemen of this generation. Okay, next up is Blake Snell. This is where it gets fun because Blake Snell, coming off a Cy Young season, completely whiffed on signing a long-term deal, but ended up getting a pretty interesting 2-year contract, also with the Giants, just 10 days before opening day. So, this year Snell is getting $15 million, but he has a $17 million signing bonus that can be paid in 2026, even if Snell is no longer on the team. Then he has a 2025 player option for $15 million, and if he executes that option, he gets another $15 million on July 1st of 2027, again regardless of whether or not he is still a San Francisco Giant. After a heavily truncated spring training, Snell got off to a very snelly start by giving up 15 earned runs in just 11.2 innings through his first 3 starts. Then he missed a month from injury, came back with another bad 3 starts, and then missed another month, actually a bit more, with a strained groin. So, as of the start of July, about halfway into the season, San Francisco's big starting pitching free agent signing had just 6 starts under his belt in 9.51 ERA, and was saying that he was being rushed back from injury by the team to get back on the field for their playoff race. Things certainly look disastrous, but Blake Snell is no stranger to slow starts. Just last year, through his first 6 outings, his ERA was 5.28, but from then on he turned into Superman with a 1.67 ERA through his next 26 starts en route to his 2nd Cy Young award. And what do you know, since his 6th start this year, Snell has a 1.3 ERA, a 117 batting average against, and of course that amazing 11 strikeout no-hitter in Cincinnati. Snell is on track to put up another great season. Even though his ERA is much higher than it was last year, he's actually walking less guys, striking out more, and giving up weaker contact. Any front office with doubts about whether or not Snell was really a top-of-the-rotation guy is now being proven wrong, and if he chooses to opt out, I do think he'll get something that resembles the huge contract he was looking for, even if he is on the wrong side of 30. That leaves us with one more player. Jordan Montgomery, coming off his best season in a World Series, didn't find a home until 2 days before opening day when he signed a 1-year deal worth $25 million, with a 2025 player option worth $20 million if he made 10 starts this year, $22.5 if he made 18, and $25 million if he made 23. Montgomery promptly fired Scott Boras after signing this deal, and has since claimed that Boras butchered his free agency. Is he wrong? Well, definitely not completely. Montgomery certainly didn't get the 7-year deal he wanted, but he hasn't really been helping his case with the way he's been pitching this year. Through 19 starts, Montgomery had a putrid 6.44 ERA, even though Arizona somehow managed to win 12 of the 19 games he started. That prompted an unceremonious demotion to the bullpen, where Montgomery now resides as a long reliever, at least until he gets things together. Montgomery didn't make his first start until April 19th actually, a few rounds through Arizona's rotation, and the late start certainly hasn't helped him, but Matt Chapman and Blake Snell have shown that eventually you just gotta get it together, and Montgomery has not been able to do so. He's obviously very unhappy with his Diamondbacks deal, but the truth is, he is robbing them right now of $25 million. He's also sealed $22.5 million for next year because he surpassed that 18 start mark, and he'll have to dramatically improve if he's ever gonna get a semblance of the contract he originally wanted once he hits the market again after next season as a 32-year-old. That is all, of course, if he doesn't opt out this year, but that would seem like quite a strange move considering the guaranteed money he has on the table and the fact that he hasn't nearly been worth that much this year. So, there you go. Of the 4 members, obviously, of the Boras 4, 2 of them are positioning themselves very well right now. One of them isn't, but he has over $50 million on the wings in his current deal and has a contract that sets him up to become a free agent whenever he sees fit, and one has completely faltered and no longer even employs Scott Boras as his agent. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this one. Please hit like and subscribe, I guess, if you really want to, and I will catch you in the next video. Thank you for watching.